Welcome back to the Table Games Network. I'm Ginger Joey.
And I'm Corey Ketchum.
Ketchum. Oh, okay, Mr. Pokemon. Now you're blending
Yep,
genres
yep,
here.
yep. Got some
So,
got some Pokopia going on. It's fun.
oh, that's right. That came out for the Switch, didn't it?
Yes, it did for the Switch too.
All
Yep.
right. There you go.
Been head deep in that. So yeah, it's a little bit of Pokemon on the brain. Even though I'm honestly not even a big Pokemon person, but Pokopia is great.
Okay. So didn't they
Yeah,
basically make it like it's Minecraft and Pokemon together in one or something like that?
basically, yeah. It's from
Yeah.
the same people that made the Dragon Quest Builders games, which were
Oh, okay.
also Dragon Quest combined with Minecraft. So they've been doing this a while. I liked Dragon Quest Builders 2 better, I think, but Pokopia is still really good.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
this is our weekly SWUmary, and we've been off for the last couple weeks mainly because it's been pre-release weeks, and we've been super
yeah,
busy, and Corey's been asleep.
yeah. Also been sleeping. Yeah, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of sleep.
Yeah, sleep is always good, and long weekends will do that to you. So, how many pre-releases did you end up putting in over the weekend?
I got to what was it? I only did 2 pre-releases, but then we also did a draft as well. So
Oh,
that
there you go.
draft also, yeah. So
Yeah. So,
total of
yep,
3 altogether.
yep. I was kind of in the same boat. So, pre-releases are great for getting out, meeting the rest of the community that you're playing with, and also just kind of experiencing what the new cards can do in an isolated element of them by themselves.
Yeah.
So, Corey, what did you learn from your pre-releases as far as like strength and weaknesses of cards?
I One of the big things I think I noticed is there's a lot of leaders that do seem like they can do pretty well in both limited and draft environments. I feel like last set was a fun set to do draft and sealed in, but it also was a little unbalanced. It was really just get Leia, win. It wasn't quite that unbalanced, but it was pretty close. It felt pretty close to that at times. Leia was very, very powerful compared to the rest of the leaders, and easy to build around. This time, it feels like we have more that you can build around. A lot more options in the leaders that can do well. I think part of that is because there's so many neutral cards in this set that you can fill out both a heroic or a villainy side just with neutral cards and still have a decent deck. So that helps a lot. And then also, yeah, there's at least, I mean, heroism is definitely the stronger option, but there's options in both heroism and villainy that I feel like you can put together decent decks out of.
So, do you think there is one leader that stands above everybody else?
Yeah, probably Velsaritha. I think
Interesting.
we know quite well that beefing up your units, getting experience tokens is really good. Leia showed us that for sure. It does have the downside of giving a credit token, which can bite you, but in general, yeah, if you can get Vel and a bunch of Sentinels, you have control of the game at that point in time.
You
Uh,
don't think Agent Callus, with his universal playability, if you can basically take any card you want at that point in time, would top that?
No, I don't think that's better. I think it is nice if you can get a callus for the draft because it does make your drafting a lot easier. Uh, but I think Vel's power is the top for the current sealed and draft meta. But I don't think it's a huge gap either. I think there's other strong ones. I think Hera is sneaky good. Hera is your Mon Mothma for this set. You can just build a decent deck out of her with if you just get a bunch of heroism cards. So there's value there. So there's a number of them. I think Boba Fett. There's a lot about bounty hunters in this set, so you usually can fill out a Boba Fett deck.
So I got regaled to having to play the client one time, and as much as I didn't I didn't want to do it, I learned a
Yeah,
lot when I did it. And the
yeah,
biggest thing that I learned, and I encourage people to like to do this from time to time, if you're doing a draft on the regular or you like to do sealed stuff, try doing something you haven't done before.
yeah.
Um, and I did the client mainly because at my position in the draft, it was just like, I think I have to do this to even have stand a chance with the cards that I'm going to be pulling out. And the one thing that I just brain farted, I thought he had to create a credit. It's any token.
Yep. Any token.
Any token. You get a unit that gets a shield, boom, there's your token for the turn. And because
Mhm.
remember that it's like a shield is a token card, even though most people use some kind of other indicator of like a little plastic piece or whatever, it's a card and it's a shield token is on the card specifically. So stuff like that is things to keep in mind because that would have made client not feel as bad, to be perfectly honest, because it's like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's a turn delay, but that essentially means, oh, your biggest unit got off the ground right away, but if you had to do something different, then I still get to exhaust one unit no matter what if I'm playing
yeah,
a unit that does that. So it was definitely like a little bit of an eye-opening thing of like, and then he comes out as a 4/4 shielded on 5. Again, not terrible. I mean, you're usually
yeah,
able to clear a unit off the board when that happens. So um I think
yeah.
even the most go ahead.
I feel like with I was going to say with client, I the one change I would make is he should be like Boba, where it's just if you create a token, tap this leader, you may exhaust an enemy unit.
Oh,
It
a
the
triggered
action
ability as opposed to
delay,
like an action.
yeah, yeah. The fact that it's an action delay is probably the most frustrating part about it. Is like you have to do something to create a shield or something or experience first. Then next action is when you get to exhaust. But by the time they know you just created a token, so they're going to attack with their biggest unit anyway. So I don't love that delay.
Sure, but I don't think that that's a terrible thing considering that any token does it. I mean, it
Yeah,
would be almost like way too easy to build a deck to just auto drop a unit, tap a unit. I mean,
yeah,
that's a lot of action conservation in one thing if that's what they're doing.
potentially. But
So,
would that be broken if you're just? I mean, all you can exhaust is one unit anyway.
but still ask Django that because that's what Django basically did when he was on his leader side.
But that wasn't the problem with Django. Django's problem was the exhausting your entire damn board and you can't do anything for the rest of the game.
Well, yeah, when
That
he
was what.
flipped, that was the problem.
Yeah,
But it was up until that, the his ability to just drop a unit, ping a damage, and tap something was
yeah,
slowing down decks so hard to where when he got to his flip, boom, Bob's your uncle. Now you're just permanently locked out at this point in time. Yes, the client
yeah,
can't do that, but if it was a reactionary triggered ability, you'd be into that beginning land of, whoa, I have one unit. You're automatically tapping it every single time and then I get a
yeah.
second unit. Now you automatically tap one unit, and then you kill my other unit, so I only have one unit left. So it just you can create this like this soft lock capabilities if it was a triggered ability. I'm
Potentially,
I'm
yeah,
not I'm not opposed to it not being a trigger, especially with that realization that oh, it's an experience token, it's a shield token, it's a force token, it's any token that you want.
yeah.
And like there's so many units that get shields or give experience and stuff like that that I think you're going to be able to have it online as your second action very reliably.
Oh yeah, I think that's very possible. I just don't think it's that good having it online as your second action.
And I think you're in the same boat as a lot of people. And I just want to have like, think about things from a different perspective sometimes because you might not always get the top two choices. You might have to settle for the
True.
bottom of the barrels when you are in a draft. That just might be the way the cookie crumbles. So it's a matter of
Yeah,
trying to find those outlets when that comes down your pipe.
yeah, that's fair.
So, the other thing is just in general, this set drafts really well.
Yeah,
It's overall fantastic. The changes to the packs, I'm actually really enjoying just opening booster packs.
yeah,
Uh, Despite all the controversy over the carbonites and the god boxes and the distribution and everything, I think the changes they made to regular booster packs makes me where instead of just buying all of my stuff when the set first came out,
yeah,
I'm actually going to be joyfully trying to. Hey, I'm going to go to local stop. I'll drop $10, buy a couple more packs or whatever it is, just because if nothing else, I can maybe get more hyperspaces that I don't already have and start filling out my deck because every
yeah,
pack I'm buying is like three hyperspaces, 2 to 3 hyperspaces, kind of at a minimum, right? If I bought
yeah,
5 packs, that's the cost of one carbonite. I'm getting the same amount of hyperspaces that I would in that carbonite. The only thing I miss out on is the prestige. Oh well, I personally don't care
yeah,
about that. And I get 5 rares guaranteed opposed to potentially uh, a showcase, or potentially a couple legendaries. I'll take the odds of 5 packs over one prestige every day with this set.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, the changes to the regular boosters are very good. I like it a lot. It's much more enjoyable opening those packs, not seeing a giant pile, all the damn regular foils that you don't want anyway, things like that. Yeah, I definitely like those improvements a lot. But yeah, as you mentioned, carbonites are in a bad spot right now. I am expecting carbonite prices to just absolutely plummet pretty darn quickly, because I don't know why you would buy a carbonite. Yeah, maybe you get lucky and you can buy a god box, but the god boxes mean there's a lot more boxes that are really bad now.
You go to your store and you buy 1 pack of carbonite. If there's
Yeah,
a showcase, you buy the whole box.
yeah, that's exactly. You get one, you get a showcase, you buy the rest because you're like, it might all the rest of these might be showcases now.
Exactly, exactly.
But before that, but even yeah, it's yeah. I guess we need to mention that the God boxes, for anybody that might be listening that doesn't know what's come up. We've had a number of boxes come out of the Carbonites this set that every single pack has a showcase. This may seem exciting to some of you that don't know about collation and all that stuff, because, oh, hey, maybe I have a chance of getting a God box. What it means is they only produce a set number of showcases to go into carbonite boxes. If they're all going in one box, that means a lot of other boxes are not getting any showcases. So your odds of getting a God box or a box with a showcase are significantly reduced, even more than their initial reduction of how many showcases you get.
But now, okay, so one of the big controversies was that in Star Wars, there is not enough cards to chase. There's not enough things with value that like are making you feel compelled to go after and hunt things down, if you will. Like how I have to have this, yeah, we have their serialized and stuff like that, but there's no like in terms of like a magic, there's no like $70,000 chocobo in there kind of thing that people are trying to,
Yeah.
hunt and like Easter egg find. So does the God boxes not provide that in that sense?
No, because again, yes, it means there's some, every once in a great while, there's some good boxes, but you don't know how long that's going to last. Obviously, Fantasy Flight's going to fix their collation. So there's from the initial batch of boxes that went out, they were all affected by this. Those are all out there. Yes, there are a chance of getting a God box, but your odds are pretty darn low of that happening. Your odds are high that you're just getting nothing. And maybe completely nothing, because we've also been hearing from some that are just getting like 1 or 2 legendaries in their entire box as well. Like the collation has been apparently really bad in those carbonite boxes.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm sticking with my if I'm gonna spend $25, I'm buying 5 boosters and not a carbonite. So
Yeah. I mean, again, I'm the one that's bought carbonites every set. I'm not touching them this set. I might if they get cheap enough, but that's really the only time I will even think about it. I'm just like right now, I'm just like, no, I'm just gonna get regular boxes and I'm fine.
and
Regular
regular
packs and I'm fine.
boosters have a chance of the prestige cards, albeit the non-foil, non-serialized, but you can
Yeah.
still get prestige cards out of normal boosters.
Which
So
is fine. I don't like the prestige cards anyway. I don't like the prestige the set. I love
maybe
the
not this
trade
set,
character art, but the background is so bad.
but keeping with that philosophy, if the prestige art is something you really like, then there is always that
Yeah.
option in future sets to get that. So
Yep. Exactly.
right. So, moving on to the weekend,
Yeah.
we are fresh into this set, have not quite hit the PQ season for the running. All we have gotten is a Nexus Invitational off of this last weekend. Whoop, that's not the right website yet. We're not there yet. What are we doing? There we go. That's what
There
we
it
want.
is.
So we had the Nexus Invitational, which is a European invited people. Spoiler alert, since you've already seen this, Benton, the current Galactics champion, won that Invitational with a Tobias red deck.
Mhm.
So you will see from this list quite a spread. The only thing that we're repeating so far is Vader Pilot, who is still got some presence.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I mean, we always caveat first and foremost when we're talking about this. This was two very small tournaments in Europe, so
Correct.
it's not telling us a ton about the meta right now.
The other one's
Number
just Nexus
one,
Open.
in general, the European deck building play, their meta is usually different from ours as well. So we're not seeing anything that tells us a ton, but this at least gives an idea of what people are kind of looking at building, what's doing well in even a smaller tournament, what you need to be building around saying, hey, I'm going to see more of those. Because the top thing is, you're going to see a lot more people playing Tobias Beckett now, thanks to Bet winning this tournament. You're going to be running into a lot more of those.
Star Wars
So
players
you
do
want to
love
be
the net
prepared.
deck.
Yes. So you'll be seeing a lot of those. You'll be seeing a lot more Lukes. We already knew that. We already knew we were going to see a lot of Lukes. Like we know these decks, a lot of Boba Fett's. Yeah, of course we knew that. But these are the decks that you need to be thinking about. Hey, when I'm building my deck, how do I compete into this? How do I win against this? What do I need to play against this? And if your deck can't compete against some of these decks or has problems with a number of these decks, you might want to look at another potential deck option at that point.
Yeah, these just are basically these might represent types of decks you can expect to see. One thing that of note: Data Vault, Data Vault, Data Vault, Lake Country.
Yeah.
The high hit point bases, especially since most of the good rare bases have cycled out, are gonna be a lot of people's go-to choices. So,
Yep.
can you get past a 30 health damage burst? Because like any kind of aggressive deck needs to do that. Now, the biggest way that people are doing that right now is a lovely little card we like to call. Hang on, I'm getting slow. I'm slow. I'm old. Where'd it go? Hide that. Bring this one up. Mr. Aggressive Negotiator, or Mrs. I guess it's Padme on there. So,
Yeah.
Aggressive
Yeah.
Negotiations. This is currently the what is it? Hump card of choice.
Yeah.
And a lot of decks are geared around this as their finishing card. Betton's Tobias deck used it as its finisher. I know the Velsartha used it, I believe, as her finisher as well. Pretty much every
Hmm.
blue red any combination is trying
Luke's
to use aggressive
Luke's are using this as
negotiations.
finishers. Yeah.
Sure,
Yeah.
any red is going to have this as an option. Why? Because it has a super high ceiling. At worst, it's an overcosted um, surprise strike.
Yeah.
I gotta say,
Basically.
at worst, it's a one pump. If you're
Yeah.
probably not
At the
gonna play it
worst,
if
it's
it's your only
one
card.
pump, but you're almost never going to play this as a one pump.
No.
But yeah, it's usually like when I'm playing it, I usually play it. If I get I'll even take +2 sometimes if I need it specifically for that. But yeah, my goal is usually +3 or more is what I want to play it on.
So this is a card that you need to, if nothing else, if you're ever sitting across from a red deck, be cognizant that this can come into play at any point in time. So you're going to be hearing a lot of people in matches go, "How many cards in your hand? How many cards in your hand? How many
Yep.
cards in your hand?" Because they're trying to calculate and account for that burst factor.
Yep.
Um,
It's a problem card. Yeah, it's a card you're going to be seeing a lot of. You need to be prepared for it. I'm still convinced. I do think it's going to end up getting banned. I don't think it's broken, overpowered, or anything like that. Just think the best explanation. I think it creates what's considered a negative play experience. It's not fun. It's just every time you lose from like 18, 19, 20 health in a single swing because somebody played that, it's just frustrating. Even if you're on the path to winning and then just like, oh, 15 damage. Great. Thanks. All right. Wonderful. It isn't fun. It's just kind of obnoxious is my viewpoint. And that's why I do think it's going to be everywhere and it's going to end up probably banned. I'm guessing I'm gonna just make the guess that it's gonna be around May.
I disagree.
Hmm.
I don't think it should be banned. I think there is plenty of things that you can do to work around it. We'll go over a couple of them in a little bit, but it's the just because a card is going to see a lot of play, I think the negative play experience from this card is less than other cards in the past have been that did not get banned. And I don't think that it deserves that. It has a high ceiling. That is the biggest thing that is like, okay, and they printed a lot of cards that draw a card out of this latest set. So it's basically adding to this. Is this in the same vein as Triple Dark Raid, where, oh, well, when we printed this, there wasn't a lot of vehicles, therefore it wasn't a problem. But then we did this whole set with nothing but vehicles, and oops, now we have a
Yeah.
problem. Is that where aggressive negotiations is at? There wasn't a lot of card draw when this was printed, but now we printed a lot of card draw. So did we create a problem that didn't exist? I think they facilitated a mindset for people. I don't know that it's necessarily a problem yet. Um,
I would argue it's a problem specifically because it just makes control virtually unplayable. Because control is all about I'm going to take some early damage, that's going to happen, and then I'm going to take over control. I'm going to take over the board state and lock you down. This card makes so it's near impossible for control to do the lockdown. I mean, we already have the first problem for control that we didn't have. We don't have the top end lockdown that we used to have either. But also, just you just need a single unit to get by to do 10 plus damage.
sure, but if a
And
control deck is doing their job, you don't have the units to do that.
again, that's and usually you would, but one or two units sticking every once in a while is going to happen always. A control deck can't control every single unit at all times, especially when trying to go wide on them. So it's constricting the meta in the aspect that I think it's making control hard, at least proper control, not mid-range soft control. You could argue Talzin is kind of in that range, is playable, but the full-on hard control, I just don't think can survive with aggressive negotiations because both mid-range and aggro decks can just get past them with this.
No card constricted a meta more than Tarkin Town, and that never got banned. So I don't
Yeah,
think that this is constricting to the point where it's ban worthy. But time will tell.
yeah,
I
we'll
just
see.
think don't whip out the ban hammer so quickly. I think let things kind of flesh themselves out a bit. Because I
Again,
mean, you go
that's
back to like
why I'm saying May.
yeah,
That's why my guess is May. I don't think it's going to be that fast. I think we're going to get a number of tournaments, and I think we're going to see how much it is affecting the meta once we actually get a good spread of tournaments over the course of a month and a half.
sure, but I mean, if it's not this, it's something else. I mean, I go back and look at like the force throw thing, right? Like force throw was a plague on a lot of things, but it also caused a lot of decks to go away. As soon as force throw got banned, look what happened. Han came back, and that's all you saw anywhere at that point in time. At least force throw being in the meta kept Han at bay. So
Yeah, kept
it's
one of the Hanza Bay.
well,
I
but
mean,
you know, you see what I'm
Hanza,
saying is that like
yeah,
you pull this lever and that switch gets flicked, and then all of a sudden it's a whole different thing. Yeah, it's can it be solved on its own without removing a card entirely? I don't know. Well, it
we'll
depends on what
see.
their metrics are. But
That's fine.
moving on to some other cards to be considerate of going into this PQ season would be the Stranger. This was one of the most talked about cards out of Lawless time. I personally think it's going to see some play, but I don't think it's going to have the impact that everybody thinks it does.
It, we were talking about this before. It's not that good. It's fine. It's a decent card. It's just the problem is pretty much all of the leaders have more than a 1 point spread on their between their health and their attack, and most units anybody's playing anymore have more than a 1 point spread between their health and attack. So it's not coming in and killing a lot. And I think that's the problem there is you want it to ambush in and kill what it's ambushing. And I just don't see it doing that a lot of the time.
My camera decided it didn't want to play anymore.
Oh, Joey's camera froze up. Oh no, oh no.
We
Fix,
fixed.
deactivate, and activate again. And
Yep.
fixed, maybe.
Survey
Maybe.
says.
Maybe not. We might have no Joey for the rest of this.
Am I permanently a ghost?
Apparently. The camera just completely stopped. You got to
Apparently.
deactivate it right now. Yeah. Your camera just stopped working completely.
Joy.
All right. Well, I guess it's just you just get to watch me
Okay,
for the
yeah.
rest of this.
You get the pretty face of Corey.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. You can
So,
put a sticker of your face in here and post.
oh, that's hysterical.
Just stick your face on.
Something will happen, but you're missing all of my lovely expressions.
It's
Anyway, keep
true.
going. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, I agree. I don't think that this is necessarily a huge.
Yes, I think you're going to see it, and you're right. I think a lot of people are playing it. A lot of Towson decks are playing it right now. People are excited about it. Yeah, as I said, I just think that excitement's going to die off pretty quickly.
Sure. Okay, so moving on, we have the Liberty, probably the number
Yeah.
one card that everyone has been saying is the top end in the current meta, which is Avenger Light, but not as remove-ish.
Yeah. No, it's really good. I don't have much more to say. It is a very good space unit. It's a great top end for any heroic yellow decks.
Like Devastator and Avenger combined into one and had a baby.
Yeah.
So, next thing you're going to see a lot of is probably Jedi Consular. I think this is a card that you are going to need to have an answer for early on. The reason why is because this is probably the best way for light side to ramp fast on you. And that 4 health is ironically a now hard number to hit because you lost cards
Mm-hmm.
like open fire, etc., which is what are a common thing that used to be for getting that. So most of the like damage removal cards are 3 or less, which means they're going to be able to pop this off on you.
Yeah, this one is one of those you need to be watching for this. You need to have a way to deal with this. This is going to be a problem. Obi-Wan's the top one using it, particularly in Obi-Wan because Obi-Wan Vengeance Temple, because he drops at turn 1, he gets the Force immediately, he plays something big. So you do need to think about how you're going to deal with this. I mean, I'll just say flat out myself, I just put some contracted hunters back into my sideboard just to kill this on turn 2 because this will lose you games. It's a lot of ramp, especially for Obi-Wan. He can get some big units out quick, and you'll be in trouble quickly with him.
The other one that utilizes this is Avar Chris,
Mm-hmm.
which you can't. Like, there is no way to you can like ping leaders can turn off the Obi-Wan version because all you
Yeah.
have to do is reduce this health off of the 4, and suddenly they don't get the Force token, and now they can't activate this. But in
Yep.
Avar Chris, you have to outright kill it.
Yeah. If you don't kill it, Avar Chris is going to get a big unit, a 4/5 cost turn 2 immediately. So yeah, you need to be thinking about this. Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of Obi-Wans. I still think Avar Chris probably has a place in this meta. I think she's pretty good too, so you'll be seeing her. But yeah, those are probably the 2 main decks that you're going to see this consular in.
All right. Next up, we have the return of pilots. This is a big thing for after this latest set, mainly because the main card that got rid of them for universally everybody was confiscate, and
Yeah.
it's gone. So with all the upgrade removal being relegated to aggression as your color scheme, if you're not playing aggression, pilots become a huge issue for you at that point in time. Boba Fett has seen a high uptick in its usage, especially with some of the changes that have come about. And also because you have Pop of the Summit, which is a huge AoE clear card to really regain that control and pump in that damage at the very end. The other one you
Yeah.
have a problem with, Luke Skywalker.
Yep. Those are your 2 biggest. You're going to see these most of the time. Boba, yeah, the Boba top of the summit play is gross. It's very gross. It it ends games. So you need to be prepared for it and need to be planning around it. That's going to be his number one play most of the time. Flip boba and wipe your entire board is the goal.
I
So
guess,
you got to be thinking about that.
yeah, the other pilot would be obviously since the tournament results from the Nexus thing, Vader is still very much a thing as well. So,
There's still a thing. He's still going to go wide in space. You got to be able to kill those units off.
yep.
But yeah, Luke as well. Yeah, Luke is a problem. Luke is a major problem. That this upgrade can't be defeated was a very, very poor choice on Fantasy Flight's part. But they make these mistakes. We've seen. So it happens. We'll see how it balances out over time. But yeah, you need to be thinking about how you're going to deal with Luke. Specifically, like how will you be able to handle that? Because when he gets on a ship, that's going to kill you quick.
Yep. And one way you can deal with that, if you're not in red, is to eject him out of his ship.
Yeah.
This does work on your opponent's pilots. It is not relegated to your own units, just as a things to think about for future if you happen to be playing green.
Yeah, this is well worth considering if you're playing green, playing that, and then also, uh,
This card is like an honorable mention for me, as I don't see a lot of decks playing it. However, if you are yellow villainy, this is what I was referring to as a potential great answer for getting rid of aggressive negotiations. If you can exhaust a red unit with this, and then, oh, look, you have aggressive negotiations in your hand, bye bye. And so now
yep,
you don't have to worry about that anymore. So there are definitely answers available to counter that strong card in the beginning. I kind of call this force throw light or force throw at home, as people are calling things like that right now.
yeah,
It costs 3. You exhaust the unit instead of remove the unit, but you still get a card out of their hand. So it's doing very similar multifunctional things like force throw did, just at a more appropriately costed rate.
yeah, yeah. It's a good card as well. Yeah, as you mentioned, it's worth considering if you're playing yellow villainy. It is a pretty good card to get rid of problem cards.
Yep. So next, this is a card that I think we'll be seeing quite a bit of, even at a 3 cost, depending on what type of a deck you're trying to run. Because we will be seeing a big uptick on Sentinels in this game. And this now replaces, what was it?
Breaking in.
No, well, yes, breaking in, but also there was a red card that did the same thing for one, was Precision Fire,
Yeah,
which was a give a trooper +2/+0, but it gave any unit saboteur, just like this gives any unit saboteur, and only gives the bonus if their opponent has more resources than you. So just like people are going to be asking, how many cards in your hand? You're also going to hear, did you resource this turn?
yep, yep, yeah. This is one that I mean, yeah, particularly if you're building aggro decks, this is well worth considering because there's a lot of Sentinels in the current set, especially on the ground, but even in space as well. There's a lot of people playing Sentinels because that is a good solution for the aggro problem, the aggressive negotiations problem. This gets you around it. That said, our next card I think is a better option if you are able to play it.
Well, before we move on to that, I have a quick question for you, right, Mr. Rules Guru.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but, and this might come into play because of cards like this. When you are doing the regroup phase, the
Hmm.
person with the initiative technically places their resource down first, then the other player resources their resource, and then you move on.
Correct. Yes. If you're playing in order, it is done that way. Because yeah, you do get the chance to see the one that does not have initiative gets the chance to see if they resource or not and decide if they want to.
So that could
So
come into play
yeah,
with this card, and it's something that players should be cognizant of. If you're worried about your opponent having commenced the festivities and they claim the initiative, make sure you make them resource if they are going to before you choose to, because you may be
yep,
able to stave off 2+ damage.
yep,
Right. So moving on to the next card, like Corey wanted to.
yep.
Padow.
Like I said, this one I'm finding is a very good card for aggro decks. If you're playing aggro in yellow and you haven't messed around with this Galen, you really should. I've been playing with a fair bit with it in my Poe deck, and I've found that it feels really good. You're giving your opponent, you're paying 3 basically to give all of your units Saboteur. The raid 1 is also nice as well, but the Saboteur is really your key here because that suddenly shuts down a lot of those deck strategies of I'm just going to put out all these sentinels and stop you in that way. I mean, that's the top strategy for the Obi-Wan Virgin's Temple is I'm going to get out sentinels until I get the big stuff out. Well, this goes right past them then. And it's not easy for your opponent to kill that unit. That 5 health means that usually takes at least a couple swings into something if you even have something on the ground for him to swing into. So really good card. And I mean, vice versa. I am expecting to see Vader yellows use this card extensively. They should be. And you need to think of a way of how are you going to get rid of this potentially?
Yeah, when it's on your side of the board.
Yeah, this comes to your side of the board. How do you deal with it? And that's a challenge, especially when you've got a space deck that isn't playing anything on the ground.
Or especially if your opponent puts a Stygian, I can't remember the entire name of the card, but it's the one that
Stygian,
exhausts your unit. And from now on, whenever you end your turn, you take 2 damage while that unit's exhausted. So if your opponent gives you a Galen Urso and then Stygians it, now it can't ready. So you can't swing it into your opponent's ground units to get rid of it yourself, and is doing 2 damage to you and giving all of your opponents Saboteur and Raid 1. That's just painful. But now, that's a lot of setup.
And well, I think Stygian, I believe it doesn't exhaust it. It makes it sort of can't ready during regroup, but it doesn't exhaust it when you play it, I don't believe.
Sure, you are correct, but as long as there is other ways that it can become exhausted, then it doesn't matter at that point. So.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah. I mean, in general, I find that I would rather use that Stygian on a problem unit rather than Galen, but it still is one of those. Yeah, you could just sit it out there and just go, yep, I'm gonna make this permanent from this point forward.
Yep. So along that note, as well as much of Galen is fantastic for aggro-oriented decks for getting, like Corey pointed out, that Saboteur to really just keep that damage pumping across without any speed bumps, I think the other Galen is big time key for a lot of control decks. The ability just to blank a card's abilities is fantastic. I mean, this can even be used against bases. If you have an opponent that is playing a force-oriented deck and you turn off their base that generates the force token, until they kill Galen Urso, it doesn't matter. If you're playing Velsartha, you can turn off credits from your opponent. Oh, look, now all this negative that I had going for me means nothing because you get no positive out of it until you kill Galen Urso. And if you protect the Galen, holy crap, that's going to be annoying for a lot of people to deal with.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I 100%. I think not enough people are on this Galen currently, but I think it's definitely going to increase because, yeah, the number of different things it can shut down is very strong. I mean, literally unlimited.
Well, I mean, there is something that it doesn't do. Like, for instance, we had a conversation and it came up, and I thought Galen Urso turned off experience tokens. It does not. It turns off abilities, but the abilities, +1/+1 of the experience token would still apply to the unit. So that's the key thing that you have to look at is Galen turns off abilities, but not stat increases from things. AKA, if you put a pilot on somebody, he turns off any abilities the pilot gave the ship, but it does not turn off the stat bonus the pilot gave the ship at that point in time.
Yep, 100%.
So, anyway, those are a few of the cards that we think you need to keep your eye out for going into this a Lawless time meta.
Yeah. I think this is going to be a fun one. I'm excited to see how things develop. I mean, yeah, the meta still feels pretty open. There's a lot that can do well right now, so that's pretty nice. I'm just curious to see how it's going to develop over the course of the next few months.
I'm curious to see how much of an impact Aura Singh has on things because she has the capability, if she becomes prevalent, of absolutely changing how people build decks because no longer will one health units be viable to be putting in your deck whatsoever.
Yes, think I don't think Aura's going to be that widespread. And also, I mean, the thing I would say is, but how many one health units do we have anymore? Also,
Well,
um,
you have the
I
new
mean,
2-1 shielded unit that just came out that people are equating
yeah, the
to.
the 2/1
Uh,
Sentinel. Yep.
you have the 2-cost item removal guy as a 3-1, and people are going to be playing with
Yeah,
him a lot.
yeah, but you're playing him for the item removal. You're not. Yeah, the 3/1's nice and all, but you're really just playing him to get rid of an item.
Sure. I'm just stating, like, those are two common cards that I see being played by people a lot that will then become, oh, I can't use this at all now. So, how many other 1-cost units become a staple in the meta? I don't know yet. But, like I'm saying, an interesting dynamic will be, does Aura counter all those kind of plays?
Potentially, yeah. I don't see it being an issue, at least this set. That's kind of my thought process because I don't see a lot of one health units that are viable to be played right now. I mean, yeah, again, as you said, the main one you're going to see is going to be that Outer Rim Constable. Everybody's going to have that, but I don't usually care if it gets killed. I'm almost always just playing it to get rid of an upgrade that's a problem for me. So that's not a huge deal. And yeah, the Sentinel is decent, but I think there's better Sentinels for most decks to choose from. So I don't think you're going to see a lot of that 2/1 Sentinel that's shielded either.
Sure.
Yeah. But in the
Sure.
future, and we could get a lot of one health units in the future, and that could definitely be a good spike for Aura Sync.
Sure. Like I said, I mean, I'm glad rotation happened. I think a lot of the, in my opinion, problematic cards have gone by the wayside. I think we see cards that do similar things, but it feels like they're the toned down versions, which I personally feel encourages more interaction than what the other cards were doing and lending to. So I'm excited for the set to see what happens, and also to see how much they support the Eternal format and what brews out of that.
Yeah, Eternal format is very interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing how that develops. We've got one of the earliest Eternal PQs out here in the Portland area. We're, I think, the third, I believe. There's two the weekend before and then us the weekend after.
I
So,
think so. I know one happens at Mox in Seattle, I believe, and then we have the one after that.
yeah. Yeah. So, the weekend before, there's one in Mox in Seattle and one in New York. And then there's ours the next weekend. So, curious to see how that develops. Be looking out for that. We're going to be actually out doing commentary for that. So, looking forward to talking through it, what we see of those old decks rebuilt for that new format. So, it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a lot of Django's, obviously, but we'll see how it plays out over time.
I think force throw counters Django.
I think again. I don't know if Django's going to need to be banned. I don't know if he's going to be that bad. I think force throw counters him. I mean, hard control counters Django hard. It's just hard control didn't have the tools that it needed then. It definitely has the tools now to shut him down. So there might be enough counters. He's not bad. I mean, I've talked about this before. The only card I think will probably still need at least a restriction, if not a ban, is going to be Triple Dark Raid because that card was a mistake, a huge mistake the way they printed that. But everything else might just balance out. We'll kind of see how it plays out. But at least initially, it's going to be a lot of people playing Django.
I think DJ is a bigger problem.
The Han DJ problem will also be back again, and that is not fun. That
I
is
think
not fun at
DJ is
all.
worse than triple dark raid because it messes with opponents' resources and curve. And so
Yeah,
you talk about no fun. It's never fun to be on the receiving end of a DJ combination.
yeah,
And so I think that that will be the thing that, if anything, would probably still need to be banned.
yeah. I agree. I agree on that too. I still argue that I know they don't want to do errata, but it's such simple errata just to say that you can't destroy a resource that you don't own. That would solve it right there.
Well, yes
Um,
and no. I mean, it still doesn't solve the fact that you're accelerating and reducing your opponent's resources, but it does. Okay, but it does solve the problem that, like, if you kill the DJ, you get your resource back. So yes, I understand
yes,
where you're going for on
it
that.
fixes it rebalances DJ to what he was built around because that was what they built him around.
Sure.
Is you kill him, you get your resource back. So that would fix, I think, the real problematic part about it. Because yeah, it's the destruction part that is just the really feels bad. It's like if I don't have an answer on the turn you play him, you're gonna destroy it, and then I'm just fucked.
You know, all the
And that
problems
feels
only go
bad.
back to one card, right?
There is, I mean, I would say all one card, but yes, you're saying Han one is where you're going on
All the
this.
problems, all the broken things result back to Han 1.
Yeah, yeah, Han one's a bit broken. Yep, that's for sure. But I will see. I'm curious to see how it plays out, but I'm also kind of happy not playing in the initial tournaments to let it play out because, yeah, I just don't want to play a bunch of Django's all day long. Which again, I'm confident that will at least be the beginning of the format.
And the other curveball, the Twin Suns cards being legal in Eternal.
Oh, that's gonna be weird. I mean, that's not till. I mean, is that they're legal at this when the next set launches, right?
I believe what it's been arguably stated is that cards aren't legal until a week after they're released, aka like the Hoth intro to Hoth came out. It wasn't legal at the tournaments that weekend. That one was a change, but I think they basically said that you can't use cards until a week after they've been out. So when so they made this announcement on FFG that, like, something was due to come out right before PQ started, but
Yeah.
you couldn't use those cards until a week after they were released. So
Hmm.
it prevents the whole scramble to get the cards just to have them for your deck at that point in time.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, yeah, we'll see. I don't know when exactly they'll be legal, but yeah, they're a problem. I mean, we've talked about this too. I'm not happy about them being legal in Eternal when there's no good way to get a three set of them without buying three of each of those boxes. That's just frustrating and kind of pushes me from wanting to play Eternal even more because that's ridiculous. I'm not buying three of each of those starter boxes. That's just
Well,
dumb.
you're going to buy the Twin Sunsets, and I'm going to buy the Twin Sunsets. So you're just going to have to borrow my copies and then find another buddy to borrow their copies, and then you got your set and you're good.
That's so dumb. That's just why you can't do this fantasy flight. It was the same thing with the intro to Battle of the Hoth. If you're going to make the cards legal in competitive formats, you have to give us an easier way to get a full play set. Don't this ripping people off is just how you drive people out of the game.
Oh, I don't think they're ripping people off. But
I mean,
let's not go down the negative
yeah,
Nancy road.
yeah,
Let's end it on like a, hey, we're looking forward to this season and we're
yeah.
gonna see what pulls out of it. And since they can't see my face, you have to give them the great outro face that you know the people deserve as we sign off from this week's SWUmary.
I have no idea. Is it this? Is it that?
I do give a good eyebrow,
Huh?
so
Huh?
I'm
Huh?
not hating this right here. But you got to turn your head the other way. Give him the good eyebrow. You're trying to give him like the lower. Oh, there you go. There you go. All right, folks. Thank you very
Um,
much, and we'll see you next time.
thanks, everybody.